From Aaron Bronstetter on Twitter, Dana White says that Israel Adesanya may fight again before the end of the summer, which the end of the summer is around July, and that he has been hitting up the matchmakers already about his next fight inside of the UFC. Now, that next fight, I already know what it's going to be. I don't know if you guys know. It's not going to be Alex Pereira, not going to be Marvin Vettori, Cannonier, Paulo Costa, any of those guys down there. It's either one of two guys. Robert Whittaker for the third gosh dang time, or it's going to be Dricus du Plessis. And I'm going to be honest, it's going to be Dricus du Plessis. There has been a lot of controversy with Dricus du Plessis, Adesanya, Kamaru Usman, a lot of that type of stuff recently, and it just seems like that's where the UFC is going to go with as the next fight for Israel Adesanya. And I'm going to be honest, it's not going to be added to UFC 288 in May. That's just not happening. Could be added to UFC 289, just kind of flipping right in front of Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena, as that is going to be mid-summer, and Dana White did say that he wanted, or that Adesanya most likely was going to be fighting by the end of summer, so I'm going to be dead honest with you. Adesanya could actually overthrow Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena 3 as the main events of UFC 289, with Juliana Pena, Amanda Nunes as the co-main event, Thompson, Michel Pereira also on the card, and Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush. Now that, my friends, is a very, very exciting main card of a pay-per-view for UFC 289. I just don't know for sure though, because July 8th is right here. Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. And if they're saying that they want one more fight on this card, and they were going to make one more main event for this card, and that they were trying to get John Jones versus the man, the myth, the legend, Stipe Miocic as the main event of UFC 290, that would have been 3 title fights. What makes you think they won't make Adesanya Dricus du Plessis also on this UFC 290 card? I don't know. I'm not 100% sold that they would do that, but you never do know. Now, UFC 291, that's kind of where it all comes down to, because I really am unsure of when that would be. It'd probably be in August, right? So let me scratch what I just said. I was kind of just spitballing a little bit because a lot of people do not like the UFC 289 card because of the main event. They wanted another fight as the main event or make it a little bit more stacked. And obviously Adesanya Dricus would make it a lot better. And UFC 290, only reason I kind of talked about that was because it was originally supposed to have 3 title fights on the card. So I thought there's a possibility for that, but what do I actually think? What do I actually think is going to happen? Because again, it says before the end of summer. Let's go on to Google right here. When is the end of summer? Let's take a look. The end of summer date. I don't know. It would be mid-September is what they're saying. But I'm most likely they're saying probably August. So that's what I would think as well. I would think mid-August time period, maybe August 20-something. Let's go to a calendar really quick. Is there a way to get a calendar on here? 2023 calendar. I'm thinking mid-August would probably be where it happens because, I mean, UFC 289 and UFC 290 would be absolutely amazing to have Adesanya also on those cards, but it kind of seems a little bit too early for him to come right back and fight on one of those pay-per-views, so I'm going to have to think about mid-August. So, August 19th or August 12th right there do look like potential dates to have a nice pay-per-view. August 12th looks pretty good, and I think that's when they're going to do it. August 12th, Adesanya Dricus du Plessis in Africa, pay-per-view. And that's what I'm thinking. UFC 291, sorry about that. Adesanya versus Du Plessis, main event of the pay-per-view. Not too sure how many other good, solid African fighters there are on this UFC roster, but there's got to be a few solid guys that they could add onto the card. Mike Perry, they could re-sign him to the UFC. But that's what I'm kind of thinking. With what they're saying here, I think UFC 289 and UFC 290 are a little bit early. Obviously, they're not going to be on one of those UFC fight nights. So UFC 291, which is going to be on August 12th or August 19th, I would say that makes a lot of sense in my opinion. So that's my thoughts on the situation. I think with this being said, if Adesanya is this willing to get a fight booked and there's already main events scheduled for 289 and 290, I'm thinking UFC 290, Adesanya versus Du Plessis. Obviously, I'm going Adesanya to win that fight. I'd go a mid-fight TKO, round number 3. But it would be a banger of a fight. I do believe there would be a little bit of controversy because of all the things that both of them have been saying about each other. But it's a good fight. Dricus du Plessis is not really that good of a fighter to go out there and beat Adesanya, but it'd still be a fun fight. They're both solid strikers. They both have power in their hands and a lot of KO TKO wins. That's where I think the UFC is going to head with this decision. UFC 291. I got Adesanya winning. Put your thoughts down below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.